Thank you so much, Somishila, for having me here, and Dr. Rajesh and Dr. Radhika for letting me jump the order. And I'm really sorry for that. And I would go through a couple of series of cases that I did initially when I started with DSEC, and which I hadn't learned, and I was already in the private practice, and I had to go back and actually learn the technique and come back and do it on my own. Which does not have an institutional setup. So initially, when I was going through the dissecting and doing a manual dissection, this is something that I was really scared of. That we had just one cornea. A lot of times the rims were not good, and a lot of times the technicians used to have a very poor cut and. So there was a leak from the chamber, and this is how we ended up with losing some of the corneas and not getting the other pair because it was already given to them. Then there's a couple of dissections that we did and had a superficial this. Then once when I realized that I was going too superficial, I thought that I should go a little deeper, and this is what happened. That I landed up with a DM perf and with no cornea to spare, and a patient who was already kind of blocked and on the table and waiting for a DSEC, and has come with a lot of hopes. And when you're in private practice, this is how you don't know how to explain and go out and tell them that we don't have a cornea and we are going to take you back again. So these are a couple of complications. Then again, while the learning curve was there, then we had collapse of AC, and you can see a loss of endothelial cells. A lot of time we landed up with this superficial problems. So, but whatever we did while dissecting of the cornea, how much irregular it was, how much manually thick we cut or manually thin we cut, I realized that the cornea is really forgiving, and we did land up with the good post-op, or at least some decent removal of the haze and edema, and some decent visual acuity. So these are a couple of cases that I had difficulty while inserting. You can see that the case selection is very important, and when we are inserting, a lot of times the graft, the thickness or the thinness, it really matters. And if what looks very simple and very easy, you sometimes get stuck. And this is what happened in one of the cases here, where I was actually trying to there was a small bubble which got stuck, and it was not coming out. And then there was a lower bubble which was not full, and I could feel that it was somewhere in the periphery, it was not forming. So I probably thought of a iridocorneal touch there, and in spite of rebubbling and whatever I did, I could not squeeze out, and I had another bubble there formed. I did this is what we think out of the box, and after struggling a lot, I did a intrastromal puncture, and this is how I could take off the bubble from there. There's another case in which this is again sorry. So this case here, when I was about to go inside, I thought I had checked and it was all attached, but it hadn't, and I had to kind of do this. And when I realized my cornea was really swollen, and the visibility was absolutely zero, I pushed in the graft somehow. I had pushed in the bubble, but I could not see anything. And this was a difficult case for me. It was a vitrectomized eye, and I thought of doing a full thickness keratoplasty, which I didn't. And here we had lots of vessels. And again, as you can see that I'm trying to struggle there, because the iris is coming back and touching, and I had to sweep, because the whole 180 degrees. There was iris which was coming and attaching again and again to the graft in spite of the bubble being formed. And I had to kind of, the whole eye was trying to, it was kind of collapsing. And again, I realized that the bubble has not completely formed, and the visibility, though improved a little, I could see, but whatever I could, I had a very tough time managing the case. Finally, I could do. This is another patient in which I usually do a 26 gauge needle insertion in most of my cases, and this is where I kind of inserted and my needle got stuck. And I had a very, very thin graft, and it was very difficult to actually take off the needle because it was a very thin graft and went through the graft. And this is when I had difficulty in exteriorizing. But the beauty was that I could actually create a good bubble, and I could kind of manage the graft well, and I could attach the graft, though these are the things which happen when you are dealing with too thin grafts or too thick grafts. So these are a few of my cases initially when I did an aphakic bullous keratopathy, and I could see how bad my dissections were on anti-segment OCT. But as I said, that after air injection and waiting for a couple of weeks or months, definitely the cornea cleared and we do land up with decent grafts. So this is again a patient which had a little eccentric graft, and it was because of a lot of shifting, trying to shift the graft from the mid dilated axis that I was thinking the patient could land up in visual problems. I negotiated with the graft a lot, and this is what happened. The graft was not clearing, but as I said, that we waited for a very long time before getting a very clear picture after a year or so. So again, these cases, as you can see that in the first case, the approximation was very good, and we could get a good only because of the approximation. But in the next case, as you see, the post DSA graft detachment was because we had this tent kind of a tissue which was there, and it was not getting attached in spite of constant rebubbling. And in the last picture, the graft attachment, even after repeated air injections, there was this periphery which remained detached, and which had to be followed up carefully. But then they usually clear, and with passage of time, the endothelium grows, and you kind of get a good graft. So this is another aphakic eye with Beitrous-Stutz's syndrome. When I was doing this case, I tried to do anti-vitrectomy and tried to clear the vitreous, but still, as you can see, there was this detachment which did not clear. So there's a couple of my other cases. I'm just going to end. This is my last slide. So again, here you can see in this patient, I had I have not removed the whole DM, and I had placed the graft. So there was kind of a double DM which was there. And again, my graft was very small in the last picture, and there was a huge gap that I could see, and which took a lot of time to clear, and the patient was symptomatic till then. So these are a couple of eccentric grafts with pupillary block, with irregular manual dissection that we see and come across. And this is what happens when you are in your learning curve, and finally you still keep seeing this. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Swati, for showing us the entire spectrum of these learners' complications. Appropriate case selection in the learner phase, I think, is probably the single most important factor in overcoming these. And wonderfully shown. Thank you so much.
Thank you.